Hi everyone, Piotr here. Welcome to SFF Spotlight episode 76. And I expect by the end of the year, we will reach episode 79. Not episode 80, which is unfortunate because, well, it would have been cooler if we could have rounded up the number, right? I know that's just a small trivial thing. But anyway, I just want to say always, thank you so much to always tuning in to my SFF Spotlight videos. For those of you who are new here, this is a series of videos where I talk about new book news, new special edition, new cover reveal, and also new Kickstarter campaign in the science fiction and fantasy genre. And sometimes I talk about noteworthy release as well. And well, in fact, I will start today's episode by talking about one noteworthy release, and it is about The Navigator Children by Tad Williams. This is the fourth and the final book in the Last King of Osten Ard series, and it is out now. This book, the conclusion to The Last King of Osten Ard, is finally out, and I'm so looking forward to reading this one because I've read almost every book in the Osten Ard Saga except Into the Narrow Dark and also The Navigator Children, which is the final two books in The Last King of Osten Ard. And right now, at this moment, I still don't know whether The Last King of Osten Ard will triumph over Memory, Sorrow and Thorn trilogy as far as overall quality goes. But the writing style, everything was still as immersive and beautiful. Beautiful, really. Tad Williams' writing is so nice to read, and although sometimes they take longer to read, but at the same time, it's the kind of writing that you like to savor. And I think right now, it's kind of rare to find an epic fantasy book with this kind of writing style, statistically anyway, based on my own experience. But anyway, this book is out now. If you're a fan of Tad Williams, well, no need to wait any longer. You can read this book now. And now, speaking of the book that is released in the year 2024, let's talk about Goodreads Awards 2024. Some of you are curious about my choices. Well, I will be honest, I only picked two books in this year's Goodreads Award. I chose, in the fantasy category, I chose The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I absolutely love that book, a great blend of fantasy and murder mystery. And then in the sci-fi category, I chose, I think it was, Defiant, the final book in the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson, and that's it. Those are the two books that I chose, and coincidentally, those are the only two books that I read in the entire Goodreads nominees. That's it. So I don't know, maybe I'm out of touch or something with the genres, but at the same time, I did read plenty of debuts. They just did not make it to the Goodreads nominees. Not even The Fury of the Gods, not The Dollmakers, The Teller of Small Fortunes, not, let's say, The Navigator Children, because this nominee is out now. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. It seems like the books that I chose to read, like, let's say, The Silverblood Promise by James Logan, those books, all of them are not included in the science fiction and fantasy category, which is unfortunate. But I'm curious about your choice. If you voted for something in the fantasy and the sci-fi category, let me know which books you chose. I chose only The Tainted Cup and Defiant. And speaking of The Tainted Cup, well, I'm here to let you know that the second book, The Drop of Corruption, that's the second book in the Shadow of the Leviathan series and the sequel to The Tainted Cup. The cover art is out now, and once again, it is illustrated by Tom Roberts. This time, the color scheme is yellow, very yellow. And I don't know, personally speaking, I do like the first cover art more, but I still think that this one is better than the cover art of the US edition. That's in my opinion, but I certainly want to get the broken binding edition of A Drop of Corruption when it's available. But you know what? This is definitely one of my most anticipated books of next year, in the year 2025. I've been itching to read this one ever since I finished The Tainted Cup in the year 2023, since last year. But even not including that fact, I have always been a huge fan of Robert Jackson Bennett's science fiction and fantasy books, and yeah, looking forward to reading Drop of Corruption in the year 2025. And moving on to the next news, this is still kind of related to Drop of Corruption, because this is again for a book with a cover art done by Tom Roberts. This is for The Faithbreakers by Hannah Kanner. So this one is the final book in the trilogy. I believe the name of the trilogy is The Fallen Gods, but the first book is The God Killer, and the second book is The Sunbringer, and finally the third book is The Faithbreakers. So yeah, I don't know too much about this one yet, but I know that my friend Elliot Brooks really enjoyed the first book in the series, The God Killer. So I look forward to reading this one when the series is done next year. And then after that, another book, another one of my most anticipated book next year. It is Gatebound by Daniel T. Jackson. This is the third book in the Illborn saga, or in the Illborn Quartet by Daniel T. Jackson. I have really enjoyed reading Illborn and also I Dual Sin, and well, considering that Gatebound will be the third and the penultimate installment in the Illborn series, I think this one has the chance of becoming the best in the series so far. So yeah, looking forward to reading this one, absolutely. If you are a fan of reading character-driven and morally gray characters in your fantasy books with an easy-to-read writing that really disappears in your mind, meaning that this is the kind of writing that is, let's say, reminiscent of Brandon Sanderson in that regard, even though the vocabulary and all that is different. If all of this sounds appealing to you, then you should try reading the Illborn saga. I have posted a full review of Illborn on my YouTube channel and also of I Dual Sins on my Goodreads account. And finally, on the topic of book news, this is the last one. This is about a new book series, a new duology by M.A. Carrick. What a coincidence. I just finished reading the Rook and Rose trilogy by the duo, and now they have announced a new set of books coming in the year 2026. So considering that I don't consider the Rook and Rose trilogy as a huge favorite of mine, but I still enjoyed the trilogy very much, especially the second and the third book, The Liar's Knot and also The Labyrinth's Heart. I really enjoyed those two books, and I certainly will keep my eye out for this next duology from the authors. So that's it on the coverage of noteworthy release and also new book news and cover reveals. Now let's talk about some special editions. I have 4 special editions to spotlight today. And for the first one, this is about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, the Curious King edition. The full details of this edition is available for you to read now. I will leave the link to the details in the description down below. And as far as design goes, this is shaping up to be one of Curious King's best designs so far. I think the deluxe looks beautiful, but the standard and also the letter looks absolutely gorgeous as well. And as mentioned before, this edition will be illustrated by Gary Gianni. So if you're a huge fan of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams and you want to own the best edition of it, and this is an expensive edition, but if you want to own the best edition out there of this book, then I think this is your chance. And the book will be available to purchase on the 26th of November. But anyway, as mentioned, I will leave the link to the details in the description down below. But I am a huge fan of Curious King's books. I think they are creating some of the best books in the industry, even though they are expensive, but they make sure that their production is worth the money, at least for the standard edition, because those are the ones that I usually get. But moving on to the next special edition, this is a more affordable special edition, but this is for an entire set. So this one is for one of my favorite series of all time. This is for War for the Rose Throne series by Peter McLean. So it is getting a broken binding special edition treatment, meaning that this one is getting a hardback treatment with the original cover art, but also this time with the board and also spray edges. The board is done by Rachel St Clair, and the end paper pattern is done by her as well. As even though I'm a huge fan of this series, I don't own any physical copies of the War for the Rose Throne series, so I certainly want to own a copy of this series. I believe the price for the entire set will be 90 or 100 pounds. That's for 4 books. And now moving on to the next one, still on the broken binding topic. This is just a reminder. This is for the second printing of the Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio. So yeah, the date is out now. In December, if you missed out on the first printing of the Sun Eater Broken Binding Edition, which sold out very quickly, it is possible to get the second printing in the month of December and also January. So yeah, the second printing will be huge, probably even bigger compared to the first printing. So no need to worry about missing out on this special edition now, just like the first printing. And I think it has been amazing seeing people's reaction to the first printing and also the broken binding edition of the Sun Eater. This one. Tada! I used the reversible dust jacket done by Peng Lu because on the spine they look better in my opinion. And then finally, the last special edition to spotlight today. This is for The Way of Eden, the Broken Binding Press edition by Philip Chase. And yeah, I work as an art director for this one, just like the Sun Eater series, together with Christopher Ruocchio, and this time together with Philip Chase. And The book is out now. If you want to own a fine press edition of The Way of Edan by Philip Chase, a great trilogy, then this is your chance. It is available on general sale now. And then the cover art is done by Rene Aigner, and also the black and white interior art, they are done by Peng Lu. And yeah, the price of this one is £55. And finally, moving on to the last section of today's SFF Spotlight, this is about Kickstarter campaign. I only have 3 Kickstarter campaign to spotlight today. And for the first one, this is probably the last time I will remind all of you, because I've spotlighted this Kickstarter campaign on my YouTube channel like 3 times now. So this one is about Conqueror's Blood by Zamil, the second book in the Gunmetal God series. The Kickstarter campaign is live now. It is more than $80,000 in funding already, so yeah, it is a big success. And by the end of the Kickstarter campaign, I believe it will reach probably $140,000 in funding. That's my prediction anyway. But again, Zamil Akhtar is a great guy. He is always determined to make sure this is indeed the ultimate collector's edition of his series, the Gunmetal God series. And I own a copy of the Gunmetal Gods. And yeah, but just like the first book in the Gunmetal God series, Conqueror's Blood will feature illustrations from Rashed Alakroka on the cover art, designed by St Clair, and then interior artwork by Hazem Ameen, Omer, Burak, Onal, and Maleski and Shimhak. It will be a truly stunning edition. And then moving on to the next Kickstarter campaign, this is for The Queen of Thieves by Antti Hakosaari. This is the last book in the trilogy, and also this one will go live, I think, on the 19th of November, so tomorrow, if you're watching this on the 18th of November. Not too many details about this one yet, but I believe that this one will feature the same specs as the previous 2 books. So a cover art by Antti Hakosaari, which looks awesome, and then interior artwork by Correia. I haven't read anything by Antti Hakosaari yet. I know that he has a lot of great books, and well, he has received a lot of great reception on his books, especially the Dark Blade series. So I look forward to reading that someday, even though that series is seriously shaping up to be one of the biggest fantasy series. I think by the end, he planned it, I think, to be about 12 or 15 books. So that will be bigger than the Wheel of Time series in terms of quantity, and probably word count as well. I don't know. It is a big series. If you have read it, let me know what you think about the series. And finally, the last Kickstarter campaign I want to spotlight today. This is for a playmat. Some of you have mentioned that you like me mentioning 1 or 2 playmat for a Kickstarter campaign, and today I want to feature one by Justyna Dura and Piotr Dura. Justyna has always been one of my favorite artists, and Justyna and Piotr, both of them are releasing a special playmat collection. So it will feature their artwork on their playmat. This is just like a Kieran Yanner's playmat collection, and I look forward to this one. I don't think the Kickstarter campaign for this one has gone live yet, so make sure to check out the page and click notify me if you're interested in this playmat collection. And that's it for today's episode of SFF Spotlight. Yeah, it is a brief one, not too many topics to spotlight in this episode, but who knows about the next one. I think for me in particular, sometimes it's good to have an episode where there aren't too many special editions to spotlight, because believe me, even though I'm a huge fan of special editions and limited editions, there are so many of them now. Just so many of them every week. But yeah, let me know what you think about all the news that I spotted in today's episode. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.